At Midway USA, we put customers first. The Nitro Express shipping system is icing on the cake. It was a big investment of time and money to take super fast, low-cost shipping to a whole new level. The Nitro Express helps ensure same-day shipping and low shipping costs. We hope you enjoy the Nitro Express. We built it just for you. For just about everything for the outdoors, go to MidwayUSA.com. I'm Larry Potterfield with Midway USA. Thanks for your business.
Want to plan your next fishing trip without the hassle? FishingBooker.com is the best way to find and book a fishing charter anywhere in the world. Whether you're chasing trophy fish or just looking for a family day on the water, Fishing Booker makes it simple, fast, and secure. With thousands of experienced guides, verified reviews, and 24/7 customer support, Fishing Booker takes the guesswork out of planning. Visit FishingBooker.com and book your trip today. Fishing Booker. Fishing trips made easy.
Midway USA brand product designers have one straightforward goal: develop high-quality, technically sound products and deliver them to customers at reasonable prices. If you are immersed in the shooting sports industry and pay close attention to every single detail, you know our products are built right and stand up to everyday use. Who has shooting mats and range bag systems to hunting clothing and just about everything for the outdoors? Log on and shop 24/7 with super fast shipping. MidwayUSA.com. For almost 50 years, Midway USA has been America's go-to source for just about everything for shooting, hunting, and the outdoors. Go to MidwayUSA.com to see our latest deals and promotions and take advantage of our super fast same-day shipping. If you need a cooler, a new fishing rod, another rifle, ammo, or a reloading press, you can find it all at MidwayUSA.com. Thanks for your business.
All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Bow Hunter Chronicles podcast, brought to you by Huntworth. Huntworth gear for all types of weather, all types of terrain, all types of budgets. It's clothing that just works. Check them out at huntworth.com. And right now they have their 20% off sale going on for turkey season using code TRKYM20. I don't know why they do that. It's such a long code, but it is TRKYM20. And they do have a new lightweight breathable hoodie. Same material as their Gadsden quarter zip. It's a breathable mesh. It's treated for scent control, but with the hood, and it's got thumb loops, perfect for turkey season, and it's not very expensive. $40 for something to cover you up, keep those bugs away from you. Check it out, Huntworth.com. Save some money. Definitely do that. Latitude, they still have a couple of the Method 2s left, 30% off. Use the code BHC, tack on some more there. They still have some of the sticks left on their site. And talking to them, they just have a handful left in the warehouse, waiting on some more shipments of a bunch of stuff. But right now, that's what they got. So if you're looking for those, again, BHC, save 15% over there with Latitude. And then I keep forgetting to say this. Nate was nice enough to give us a code for Painted Arrow, BHC15, save 15%. And since we're talking turkeys, get over there, try one of those new shot mags. I know we've got one of our buddies is going to use it on a hog hunt here real soon, so we'll be able to check that out. But yeah, definitely check their stuff out. They've got some really cool stuff coming out. Hopefully before TAC, we'll get to try some of their stuff out. And it's not their stabilizer or any of that stuff. They've got something like they were prototyping at ATA. I've talked about it on here a couple times, but super cool, and looking forward to that. So definitely keep your eyes peeled at Painted Arrow, paintedarrow.com. Today's podcast, Jeff Budz. He is with More Turkey Hunting, and that's Miriam, Osceola, Rio, and Eastern, putting on a big turkey hunting contest. And, hunting contests are kind of weird because people think of them as, it's putting a bounty on it. It takes, the sport out of it, all these things. But Jeff has killed over 500 turkeys himself. I don't know how many slams, but he's killed the super slam to close out one turkey in every state in the United States that has them. I guess Alaska doesn't have turkeys, so he's killed 49 turkeys in 49 states, and just kind of talk some turkey hunting, kind of start moving our way, shifting our gears towards turkey hunting, just target archery, that sort of stuff. So fun podcast, very passionate guy, and I know you guys are going to love it. Thanks again for listening. Enjoy, guys. All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Bow Hunter Chronicles podcast, brought to you by Huntworth. Today we've got Jeff Budz, and we're going to do some more turkey talk. And this is a guy who may not be on your radar, but once we get to his resume, you're probably going to look into him and say, why haven't I heard more about this guy? So how are you doing today, Jeff?
I'm good. How are you?
Not too bad. Not too bad. The last podcast we talked about it, and being up here in the north, we've still got snow, a bunch of different places where there's snow, all sorts of things like that. And turkeys just don't really jump on the radar for another, we're beginning of March. I don't think our season starts here until, say, April 20th, somewhere in there, somewhere middle of April. So it's interesting. But you were texting me today that you were out guiding clients and stuff like that. So it's already in full swing with you.
That's why I'm in camo. I mean, I'm sporting. I'm Team Huntworth, of course. But it's 8:30 here. Of course, we're Eastern as well, and I still got half an hour, 40 minutes to get home. I was bow hunting in Southern Zone. It opened on the 1st. March 1st. Actually, I took my 6-year-old. I'm pretty proud dad. I waited. He's 6. Anyway, he shot his first turkey ever on February 22nd is when our season opened for youth. So, and you're shaking your head like, holy cow. And I was shoveling the driveway and So it starts early.
So speaking of starting early, what is your background with turkey hunting? Not necessarily like the resume part, but when did it start for you? Because for myself, until I met my wife, like turkey hunting was just something the weird guys did. It wasn't really a destination, or it wasn't something to look forward to like it is now. Yep.
Did she get you into turkey hunting? You said until you met your wife.
It was her dad. So her dad used to, back before there was a turkey population in Michigan, right when they opened it up, that he would travel all over the state looking for turkeys. And the guy who lived across the street, I think it was his uncle, was Rod Benson Game Calls. And so that's who my father-in-law hunted with. And then he traveled to the shows and did the seminars. And he was the guy out there doing all the calling on, mouth calls and box calls and all that stuff. So
that's awesome.
When I met her, he knew I deer hunted. And then, that first spring, he said, "You turkey hunt?" And I said, "No." And he said, "Well, you do now." He said, this is how I buy a tag, whatever. And I killed my first turkey.
You're going to be part of the family. You do now.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome. So how old were you when you got your first turkey?
Oh, I was probably 18.
Got it. That's awesome. I was same thing. I sort of fell into it. A buddy took me out and met him out at a bar, and I was at Carbondale, Southern Illinois University, and he said, "Hey, come on, let's go." And we started hunting that fall before, literally met in a bar, and we just started chatting. He was a grad student, older than me, 4 years. And we went out and I got my first duck, goose, and pheasant and deer. And I thought, holy cow. And he said, "Let's go turkey hunting, put in for a tag." So I went out. Our first day was, back then you could only, still in Illinois, you get your week. You can only got one tag then, but April 1st, 1989, that's it. He called in 2 screaming jakes and strutting and knocking leaves off the trees. I'll never forget it. And anyway, and that just the light bulb went off, and I went, holy cow, I got to do something like this more often. And it went from there. So that was the beginning.
And so that year, did you decide like immediately that it had to be turkey all the time, and you started traveling out of state after that, like immediately, or was it something that was gradual?
No, it was gradual. In fact, so 89, first bird, 90, 91, I didn't get a bird. At 92, I said, I'm staying out. I was the normal guy that went for one weekend a year, and that's it. if it happened, it happened. And so I said 92, and then I got another Jake actually first thing. And then after that, 93, I said, I'm not shooting. I want to shoot toms. And then I shot a few more birds in 94. I said, I'm going to go for this Grand Slam. So I had only killed 6 birds, I think. And there I was in Florida. My 7th bird was an Osceola. And I thought, holy cow, it's 94. I mean, I got a Grand Slam in 94, and that was it. I've got a Grand Slam every year. And I started, and then I sort of got crazy with it, and have done, I did, for some reason, started a bucket list and said, I want 100. So I got 4 Grand Slams a year for a lot of years until just recently when I got that benchmark, and then, chasing other stuff, and now the family and stuff. I mean, I waited late, 51 to get married and 52 to have a son. And I mean, you're younger, and your daughter and stuff, and it means everything. I mean, luckily I'm older and now I can slow down. And, you've taken a lot of deer, and even at that, when you see the big one, but that thirst sort of wanes a little bit. And I say that, but I guide. So I was out today, and, we're at 13 birds so far, the southern zone. I don't do many down southern zone. I do central, but because I've got my finger on the pulse and I'm there, it helps not having to pull the trigger because I get to see it and I'm around it. I'm playing the chess match. Even if I'm not with my clients, I'm helping with the chess match with my other guides or such. So I'm always there, so it matters. It means a lot. Not, it helps not just pulling the trigger.
So for the listeners, and especially if we've got some northerners and things like that, where turkeys are, just another thing to hunt, will you explain the slams, like what each one is?
Yeah. So there's 4 different subspecies of turkeys in the United States. So the Osceola, like Chief Osceola, is in the Seminole, southern Florida. The eastern is, if you look at Florida like a 7, you have from Jacksonville down to the Gulf of America. It's and then north of that line is easterns, and easterns go from there, from the Atlantic all the way to the Mississippi. And I say this from a 30,000 foot view because there's easterns and west of the Mississippi as well, of course. And then the Rio, like the Rio Grande, is in the southwest, and the Miriams and mountains, so the northwest. But Miriams come all the way down into New Mexico and Utah and all the way down in. But anyway, so to get one of each of those is a Grand Slam, and any legal bird counts. And then the Royal Slam, like a Royal Flush 5, is the Goulds from Mexico. And then the World Slam is the 6th one, and that's an ocellated from the Yucatan. So where Mexico, what swings up and around and goes into that tip, and so to get one of those. So that's the World Slam. And then a Super Slam, the U.S. Super Slam, is a turkey, and again, a legal turkey out of all 49 states, because there's none in Alaska. And you could do all those slams in a year, or take a lifetime, or however you do it. So when somebody says, hey, I got a Grand Slam, that means probably they got it took several years. Because if they got a single season Grand Slam, they'll say, I got a single season Grand Slam, or I got a single season, and, well, okay, did you get a Jake in there? Because if I got a single season of toms. So anyway, and a tom is an adult bird, which is a 2-year-old bird. A Jake is a 1-year-old male, and then a Jenny or a hen is just any female. And a Jenny or hens can have beards on them. So a lot of states will specify in their laws, it'll say bearded birds, because a lot of people will shoot, people that don't know. I mean, I see a lot of birds and I've been fooled. And they'll shoot a bearded hen, and they don't want them to waste them. And they're so uncommon that it's not like hurting the population, So anyway, but that's the gauntlet of the slams, and however you do it legally. And we'll talk about that several times tonight. My line in the sand is legal. Okay. And I heard your turkey and deer podcast, and I know people have their, oh, I won't shoot a bird unless he gobbles at me. I won't shoot a bird unless he struts at me. I won't shoot a bird unless he's under 20 yards, or whatever you want to do, whatever floats your boat. I love that. I want you to float your boat, but I want to hunt with a guy like that because I'm going to pick up a lot of scraps.
So, just one of the things I wanted to, we touched on it a little bit on the last podcast, and, for a guy who's turkey hunted as long as you have and killed as many birds as you have, and I'm sure been around all of those types of guys that you just, kind of outlined, there seems to be like I don't know, this like ethos or like this thing about like the right way to hunt turkeys, that the turkey should have a chance. It should be fair, to the turkey. It's okay if the turkeys win, which is fine. That I don't have any problem with that, but there are guys that say, you shouldn't hunt with a blind. You shouldn't hunt over decoys. You shouldn't, the reaping thing, we discussed that the last time, and then there are guys who are absolutely like appalled by the thought of killing a bearded hen. And it's again, like you said, legal turkey, legal thing. Like, where does this, or is it just part of hunting where it's just, everybody has their own thing? But it just seems like with turkeys, there's this group of people who are really into turkey hunting that have a certain way. And I'm just wondering like where that came from about what's supposed to be right.
I don't know. And so we're jumping right into it. And I keep it really simple. Legal. Don't tread on me. And I promise you I won't tread on you. Because again, and I say Gulf of America jokingly because I make no bones about it. I'm a Christian. I know who fights my battles for me. And life is too short. I just lost a friend. I gave him a hug at NWTF. They were supposed to be here Monday, he and his wife, so she could finish her slam. And he passed away going to Mexico for his Goulds. Life is too short. We are not promised anything but right now. And I say legal. And if somebody, and I tell everybody when they come and hunt with me, because Florida is an unbelievable state. I came from Illinois, the police state of Illinois, where you had to have 3 different moves before you can have a gun and ammunition in that. You have to have it cased on your own property, any weapon, driving from your cabin down to your hunt stand. I mean, it's crazy laws. And here you can shoot them from a vehicle. And I tell everybody, corn, you have to be 100 yards away, but the turkey can be on the feeder. Weapons, you can shoot them with anything, a pistol, a rifle, a shotgun, a muzzleloader, a crossbow, an arrow, anything you want to shoot a turkey with, you can do that. And I tell them, because everybody has airboats and big buggies and all kinds of side-by-sides, and they say you can shoot from a vehicle. It can't be moving. So, that's all I say. I mean, I had a big conversation. I've had several conversations, and we'll go into the contest later, because people say bounties and people say, oh, I don't want to taint any world of outdoors. Well, guess what? There's fishing, there's deer. Jerry Tibbet is a deer friend of mine, and he has, pardon the pun, but he has a big deer contest, and it started in Pennsylvania. It's spread rapidly. It's a pretty cool thing. It's, for me, what I'm trying to do is bring awareness. I'm helping out. I'm going to give money back to some entities. And so all I say is legal. And so my people, I'm hunting with a gal right now, and she had never hunted in a turkey lounger. She has her own property in Mississippi, big property. And I'm like, well, you can sit on that root if you want, but I'm sitting in a turkey lounger. The chairs, the small, low profile chairs. And we sat in a blind. We had a big storm come through yesterday, and she goes, I've never hunted in a double bull. And I went, you're going to today. And it rained, and we got pounded, 30-mile-an-hour winds. We shouldn't have been out there, but we were, because she was here traveling. And she was like, wow, look at that. Today she was shifting around. She goes, you made me a believer in the turkey, of the turkey lounger. So people get hung up because of how they're they're mentors. And that's why it's so important as men like you and I and others that are listening, I hope are going to do the right thing. I mean, I learned in college by a bunch of old retired frat boys that were just running and gunning and doing a bunch of stuff that I'm not so proud of back in the day. But you just learn and it's how you're taught. And
Hunting is not easy. It never has been. It takes dedication, motivation, a lot of patience, and quality gear. If you manage a food plot, put up stands, or need just one more game camera, we can help at MidwayUSA.com. We opened our doors in 1977 and continue to put customers first by offering super fast, same-day shipping. For just about everything for the outdoors, go to MidwayUSA.com. Midway USA knows serious shooters reload ammunition to save money on the per-round cost of ammo over time. Whatever your goal, Midway USA offers a wide selection of reloading supplies from all the top brands to help support these pursuits. From reloading presses to dies, measuring tools, and other reloading equipment to essential components like bullets, brass, primers, and powder, Midway USA is your one-stop shop reloading supply store. For just about everything for reloading, shop MidwayUSA.com.
And, but again, whether you want to hunt out of a blind, I mean, in Kansas, you can shoot a bird underneath, you can sit there and shoot, or Texas, you can shoot a bird, a deer, a hog, anything as they're eating the corn when you're right there next to them. And if that's what you want to do, that's great. So I have a conversation. Hey, what are you looking for out of this hunt? And whether I'm with somebody or talking, what do you want? Because I want you to leave. You will leave with a bird, but I want you to leave with a smile on your face. And, I don't know if you heard of the Grigsby. You ever hear of that in Illinois? It's a deer place.
No.
Anyway, 13,000 acres. And I started that back in 2001, whatever. But anyway, I had a huge 13,000 acres. It was the largest contiguous property in the state of Illinois. And, teamed up with some great folks and had a bunch of big celebrities come. And anyway, there I had 85% of repeat or first-hand referrals. And that means somebody that I didn't have to sell. Somebody that calls and says, my best friend said I need to hunt with you. What are my dates and how much do I owe you? So that was the deer world. Well, the turkey world down here for Osceolas, it's usually one and done. So I have 85% of one and done. So it's not a good business model to have a successful business. So I make sure that everybody that leaves, they leave with a smile on the face and they say, I got exactly what I wanted and dreamt of my whole life, get my Osceola and then some. Anybody asks me about an Osceola, they're coming to Jeff Budz. And so I talk to them and I'm very adamant about what to do and not to do. So we talk a lot about it, but I will never harp on somebody about what they want as long as it's legal. And that's all I try and keep it really simple,
And so in that, you had mentioned like mentors and things like that. So for guys that are not, I wouldn't, I think there's few northern turkey hunters who would say like, oh yeah, I'm a great turkey hunter. I mean, there are guys out there, but for guys that are just starting out, what would you say to look for in a mentor?
Well, first of all, somebody that's successful in whatever you're asking mentor for turkeys, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So, but whatever, I mean, whatever we're going to try and do, I hope I can, in a mentor, I can find somebody that's very successful at what I want to learn at, a good teacher, and is doing it and I say the right way, again, the legal way. Because there's mentors out there that'll be like, hey kid, I'm going to drop you over here. When you get whatever you're after, I don't want you to take a picture here. We'll take a picture in another spot I've got, but you text me and don't sit on the road. Just sit off the road a little bit. And when I pull up, I'll honk and you jump in the car and we'll get out of here. Right? Guess what? That's not somebody you want to be your mentor. Okay. So and just like we're doing right now, there's so much information out there as far as to learn on for turkey hunting. You can get Audible as far as calls and, there's a lot of information out there, easy information to utilize,
Yeah. No, I absolutely do. And for me, I like I said, with my father-in-law, I was very fortunate, like it was just kind of learning by osmosis. And I don't feel like by no stretch of the imagination am I a good turkey hunter, but I don't have a problem finding birds. And I know, I guess what I think calling is supposed to sound like. So I try and mimic him. And then I've been in the turkey woods enough to have called in enough hens to hear what they sound like. And I just try and sound like what they sound like. And,
Yep.
But I feel like, especially up here, we have a large turkey population. So it's like if you have private land, turkey hunting is not very difficult if there's turkeys on it. And it depends on time of year, how much they've been called to and stuff like that. But that to me is like getting out there and traveling and talking to guys who hunt different situations, because every situation is going to be different. So for me, that's what I'm saying. Like when I'm looking at for guys who are looking for a mentor, there are guys that, just like with deer, maybe kill a big deer or kill a bird every year, but they really don't know how to turkey hunt. This is what I'm saying. They just have a green field on a piece of private property that has turkeys on it. And if you wait there long enough, the turkeys are going to be there,
Yep.
So that's what I'm saying is like, for guys who are just starting out, how, I don't even know, like what are the attributes of a good turkey hunter in your mind? Like what makes a good turkey hunter?
Well, winning the battles, like I heard Tracy, of course, Brain, dear friend, and he said he had heard years ago from one of the guys that he'd worked with, and he said he hadn't entered any turkey calling contests, nor have I, but he said he carries the loser out on his back every time. And that just, man, that clicked. I love that. And I've been the loser the last couple of days. This bird's beat me up. But, the attribute of a good turkey hunter, I mean, somebody that, of course, puts time in, gets out there, is successful. But just like you said, and I tell everybody, I keep it really simple. 3 things. Pay attention, stay out of their way, and do your job when it's time to do your job. And that job, I mean, I can go into, oh my gosh, crazy rabbit holes on all 3 of those. But my job is to get up at 4:00 in the morning, drive an hour and a half, be there sitting in a seat with a thermocell on because the mosquitoes will carry you off in southern Florida, 30 minutes before I even think that I'm going to hear a gobble. That's how I go. And, sleep deprivation, it's standard issue from now until for 3 months for me. But besides that, I would hope to be a good steward. I mean, I've never been on this property. I was there yesterday and today, and I'm stopping and picking up garbage, balloons that from Disney or somewhere. Those we all see stuff. So and I mean, we're talking about it now, and however many people listen to it, but I did it with no intention other than knowing it was the right thing to do. To whether nobody's going to be there after me or not, don't booger the birds. Leave it better than you found it, but hopefully pass it on, help pass it on. What's a good anything? I mean, you could, that template fits whether you're deer hunting, whether you're turkey hunting, bass fishing, whether you're going to help your kid play baseball or flag football or whatever stuff like that. I mean, all this stuff. It's just doing the right thing. And again, not to get down a slippery slope on the right thing, but and I pay attention a lot. I love when you said, I listen to a lot of hens and I try and mimic them. And for me, paying attention and giving it to them more than they, what would you do? What would your wife do if she came home, or anybody's wife? She comes home and there's a lady in her room, in the living room, moving the furniture around. And she goes, "What are you doing?" She goes, "I don't like the furniture like this. I'm going to change it. By the way, I'm changing the color." And then, "Oh, hey, I'm going to take your man." Like, what? So that's when you go against that battle with that hen, and when you cut her off, and there's all the strategy there, but paying attention, being a good anything, paying attention, leaving it, don't do anything unethical. For me, TSS, the turkey chokes and the red dots, that to hone stuff in. And I carry a 410, a 20 gauge, and a 12 gauge with me all the time. They're clean, they're sighted in. And most of the people that hunt with me, I said, "Here, use my stuff." And, I don't travel with it. You'll get hung up in the airport, or it's a pain. I just don't want them using their stuff, because I know my stuff is top of the line and it's dialed in. And I don't want any excuses, because guess what? It's always the guide's fault. So if it is going to be my fault, we're going to do it my way. We're going to use my equipment. And, I'll have one person a year go away without a bird. And that's usually because they shot it, they wounded one. Because I tell everybody, I'm making you a promise that I'm going to put a bird within 30 yards of you, unless you're a bow hunter, and it's going to be 15 yards. And you're going to make me a promise, or you're going to come back and you're going to hunt till you get that bird or that chance. And you're going to make me a promise that you're not going to shoot unless you know you're going to kill it. Because whether he flops or he flies, that's your bird. And I'm 13 birds in. And number 13, he shot and he peppered a bird, and the guide was with him. The landowner, they hear a shot and they expect to be paid. They'll check it, because I pay them before. And the money for these birds, everybody wonders, how can it be so expensive? Anyway, so that one, don't take a shot unless you know you're gonna get that animal. And that goes, how many guys would cringe if you saw a quartering in shot on a shoulder on a big mature buck? A small doe that you're going to punch it through, it might differ. But anyway, you cringe when you see somebody. And again, whatever it is, just do the right thing. And there's not it's an easily delineated line on the right and ethical thing to do. Just because you're shooting TSS doesn't mean you should take a 60, 70, 80 yard shot. But when you take a 40-yard shot, there's no messing around. That thing is done. And that's why I shoot the TSS and the chokes and the red dots, not to take crazy shots.
Friends of NRA is your chance to support our Second Amendment rights and preserve America's hunting traditions. Join Friends of NRA at one of our 600 exciting events nationwide. From games to auctions and exclusive firearms, Friends of NRA events are your chance to support a cause you care about while having a great time with patriots in your community. Whether you're a seasoned shooter, an avid hunter or outdoorsman, or passionate about freedom, there's a place for you within Friends of NRA. Visit friendsofnra.org to find an event near you. Stand up for freedom with the Friends of NRA.
It's perfectly browned, it's melty, it's sweet. It's the s'more you just cooked over the fire at AutoCamp. That's right, Hilton brings you new ways to stay, where you don't just get nightly s'mores. You also get clubhouse happy hours to gather under the stars, all while staying in custom-designed airstreams, cabins, and tents, and insanely cool outdoor destinations. If AutoCamp sounds like a dream, it sounds like it's time to redeem those Hilton Honors points at Hilton.com. Hilton for the stay.
So anyway, but I sort of went on a tangent. But doing the right thing, that mentorship, whether you're learning or teaching, just do the right thing. We all know there's that voice on your shoulder, do it, don't do it. Most people know, they really do know what the right thing and the wrong thing is to do, when it comes down to laws or ethics.
So you said to stay out of their way. What did you mean by that?
Well, when you're when you're scouting, when I scout, I don't call. I want to see, I listen and I look and I cover a lot of miles. Down here, I've had most of my leases forever and ever. And the birds, if you stay out of their way, they're going to do they're going to do their normal thing. Unless, some in a grove, they might be picking this block and that's going to push them out of there. A coyote or a bobcat might mess them up off the bat, or during their routine, they're going to do a lap every time the same day. The weather might, take it a little bit into account of what they do, but stay out of their way. Don't, sit still. Don't talk. Don't move. Don't spook them, and pay attention to what they're doing. Get inside their mind. You've already done that when you're out there. And if you're deer hunting and you watch those turkeys, as we all have, or whatever it is, I'm just soaking it in. And a good buddy of mine from Texas said the ripple effect. Somebody that mentored him said the ripple effect. When you throw that rock in the pond and it ripples and it goes and goes and goes. What are you doing? Are you trying to drive a vehicle all the way in when you could walk? But we're all lazy and we all want it easy. And, heck, I told her, I said, I love to sleep in. I love to be dry and I love to be warm. But those sleep, dry, and warm are the first three things that are going to go from my list. See ya, but gone, because I don't care. I will. We had walked through a creek today. I had another pair of boots in the car. It wasn't a big deal. I don't care. But not a lot of people are, patience kills more animals than anything. Getting there, sitting, I heard your podcast on the deer and turkey. We won't go into the who's right on that, but turkeys. Anyway, as far as cameras and all that stuff, and that's a whole new factor of what's available, what's out there today. But anyway, staying out of their way. I'm picking up my bonus daughter who just got done with football. She's a train wreck. Anyway, staying out of their way, paying attention, don't spook them. So real simple, don't spook them. Don't do anything to alter their route, because hopefully when you get back out there to do what you're trying to do, you can have that same route, and whether it's uncomfortable or not, sit a little while longer. It's just a Jake. Well, guess what that Jake is going to be next year? That Jake is going to be a Tom, and he's going to remember, did you jump out of the blind because it's just a Jake? A hen. If one of my guys is in a blind and they tell me, oh, I want to get out, I'm like, okay, is there anything close by? Oh, yeah, some Jakes and hens, but there's no Toms. Don't move. What do you mean don't move? You're not coming back if you get out of that blind right now. It's that simple. If you need somebody or to get out of there, somebody will drive to the blind and pick you up. And because I want them to see a car. Heck, when I was guiding deer, if it was during the day, I'd drive them in and they'd flip out. What are you doing? I'm driving you to your stand. And they'd say, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? Okay, let's just do it this one time. Okay. When you get up there in that stand, I'm going to get out of the truck and I'm going to beat on the toolbox and I'm going to do my stuff. The radio is going to be loud. When you get done, and your backpack is hanging, your face mask, your gloves, your release, your arrow is on, you're hanging on the hook that's already up there. When you are done, you're going to give me a thumbs up. So I do that and I drive away. And then I say, depending on whether I get them, because again, deer, if they're over a food plot or somewhere, food source, and you're getting out of a stand and blowing them out of there, not good. So I pick them up and they go, you won't believe it. And I go, and I know what they're going to say. I said, what? Tell me. And they say, I could see your license plate. And a deer stood up 40 yards away from me. I said, get out. I can't believe that. So it's just little simple things when you say stay out of their way, pay attention. are you listening to when you hear whatever noise? I mean, there's so much going on out there, and a lot of, the noises. There's non-verbal noises from all of these animals. Verbal, a blow from a deer, snort, wheeze, which not too many people have been able to listen to in the wild. But turkeys scratching. Oh, I'll call, and then I'll sit there and go. It's always 3. I'll get a pile of leaves off to the side, and I'll stop. And he comes around the corner thinking there's a bunch of turkeys scratching in the leaves. So there's a bunch of stuff you can pay attention to. Anyway, and there, the sign, it just so we had that big storm and that rain. So I know that every track in the sand here is fresh. Deer, hog, bobcat, coyote, turkey. It's all fresh. Again, intel. I'm trying to pick up everything and leave nothing,
What about like calling strategies? There's, and this is, comes from, my mentor, my father-in-law. Sometimes he would do soft calling. Like, I think we killed more birds soft calling than anything else. But when there's nothing happening, he has like a symphony of calls, and he'll give them the whole gamut. And he always says, you just got to find the one that they like. And that go back to the first bird that I ever killed that I called in myself. I was making the most god awful noise on this slate call, but that's what they reacted to.
Yep.
And I think calling is one of those things where, bad callers kill birds, great callers kill birds. All turkeys sound different. So like, what's your go-to strategy? And what would you say to guys that were just starting out trying to master a mouth call or, any call just to start calling turkeys?
Well, it's, and you nailed it. I mean, and Mary, the gal I'm hunting with today, she's killing Mississippi Easterns by herself. That tells you something. Those are Southeast Easterns. They're not like anywhere else. They're born and they're getting chased with egg on their head. I mean, or shell on their head. They're people, those Southerners, man, they're after them. But she won't call. I said, call. She goes, nope, I'm not calling. I go, Mary, come on. You're here to learn too, right? And she's like, well, yeah, but voices, I've gone sneaking up in the woods, heard the best call in the world. And it's some dude. And then I go stomping around the corner. I sit and wait forever because I'm like, there are turkeys there. And then finally I go around, it's some dude. And then another time I hear somebody just rah, rah, rah. And I go over to scold that guy going, get out of the woods. You're scaring everybody. And it's a live bird, So, I mean, there's no, everybody, you and I everybody has a different voice and a different fingerprint. And so do turkeys. So don't be afraid to call. These guys that hunt one weekend a year, they go out there and they've practiced and they in their head, they feel confident, but they're still timid, and they could be businessmen that conquer the world. But when they get out there, when it's mano a mano, boy, they're afraid. And so they finally see the tom or hen or whatever. And they go, I don't want to call because I'm going to spook them. So, okay, there's your choice. Now you're going to sit by a tree and just hope that something walks by you. No, I'm going to go down swinging. And so I cover two things that I do. I cover more ground than anybody I know, and I call more than anybody I know. Well, and number 3, I do crazy stuff. My son just killed his Eastern for youth opener in this up by Tallahassee this Saturday, and I had 11 decoys out. I carried them in, and because I could, and I was close, and we had 11 decoys out. And I hunted with the guy, my buddy today, and he goes, oh, I saw, are you bringing your goose spread? Because he saw the post, and it was all the decoys. And because how many times have you seen stuff done like that? But I'll call. Now, there are a lot of old timers that say, old timers and that say, oh, I call every 20 minutes and I set the call down and done. I don't, and I had a Amish gentleman come up to me after my seminar 4 years ago. Gosh, time flies. He waited till after the seminar. And of course, obviously from a distance, I knew he's Amish. He came up with his wife and introduced himself and we started talking and end of it, he says, I'd love for you to come out my place in Kentucky. And I said, watch what you wish for, because I guarantee you I'm the guy that'd show up. And he's like, oh, would you really? Anyway, I called him later that spring and it worked out. We came in and we hunted, and I had my other bonus daughter. I have McKenna with me now. And I had my other bonus daughter with me. She's too cool for school here. Say hi, McKenna. So Jenna was with me and Jenny. So we get there and Jenna shot a bird that afternoon. Then I went with Lonnie the next morning and I called a bird in. He got it. We went to another property. I saw it come out in the field and we snuck around and called, got him. We went back to his house and Jenny had been sitting all morning and she was like, I'm done with this. I said, I'm coming to the blind. Got to the blind. So we killed 4 toms in 28 hours. And he said, I've never seen anything like this in my life. And I said, well, how do you usually hunt? He said, I go out and I call once every 20 or 30 minutes. When I get a gobble, I put the call down, I pick up my shotgun and I sit there and wait. And I said, oh my gracious, are you kidding me? But he does kill birds. It takes a long time. So the net is, again, back to the mentorship and learning on not only turkey hunting, but there are some really good calling advice out there and I am not a professional caller. I haven't entered a contest and now I won't because I have everything to lose because they'd expect more from me than anybody. And when I didn't even place in the top runoff, whatever, top 10 or whatever, they'd be like, oh, that Budz, he's a joke. But my contest is in the woods and I carry the loser out on my shoulder. And that's my motto from now on. But there's slate calls, there's box calls, there's mouth calls, there's a little push pin call that the kids all play with. But I called one of my first birds in with that push pin, little primos. And I called them and I was like, this doesn't sound good. Can I talk to somebody? Oh yeah, here, hold on. I'll send you to the back. Hey, what do you got? I said, who's it? My name's Jeff. Who's this? And he said, this is Will Primos. And I about fell over. I was like, Will Primos? This is in 1990. And, he was back in the shop and he couldn't have been nicer. Here, what do you call you got? Okay, I'll put you on speaker and I'm going to get the same call. And he rot. I said, it doesn't sound right. He goes, it sounds great. And so we think, and how many times, and I know you have because you listen to yourself playback, how many times most of these guys don't listen to their own, or it's been forever since they listened to their own voice. And you listen to your voice and you're like, that's me? It sounds different because it goes through your head. And anyway, when you go out there, what I recommend is getting a recorder if you really want to, but recording yourself further away and then listening to it. It'll sound a lot different than it does right here, when you're doing it. But anyway, the mouth calls is the hardest for everybody. And I say that, don't get hung up on saying, because you predestine yourself like, oh, I can't do that. Yeah, you can. You can. I know you can. Now, Mark Drury, I just saw him at the Mark and Terry at the NWCF, and I said, hey, and Mark's got a latex allergy, and he cannot use latex calls. I get that. That's understandable. But do not say around me, I can't do it. Because there's a way. I can't have a baby and neither can you. I know that. I know which bathroom I'm supposed to use. And so there's certain things that are definites, okay? But besides that, you can use a box call, a slate call, a mouth call, a push pin call, a shaker gobble call. But just get out there. But just like you said, I mean, you say yourself destined to say you're a novice or beginner or haven't done that much, but you already know the basics. Like I go through the calls and when I get a response, I stick with it because they, and were mentored into, there's a bunch of calls and you got to find the right one. I mean, for me, we're on a big ranch today and we covered some miles, and never saw the same ground. I covered 3 miles and I wasn't on a fraction of it because I believe that if I cover enough ground, I'm going to find the right turkey, the right tom, in the right state of mind. I hunt big country out west, public ground for elk when I'm archery hunting out there. And guess what? I call and I cover ground. And the same way, if you give me enough time and ground, I'll find the one that's right, that's in his right state of mind, or for him wrong, for me right. When you see your expertise is deer hunting, and when you get him right and bowed up and prancing and doing what he's doing, or rutting or checking his scrapes, or locked up, when he's not doing any adversary, if you can get inside their brain, you have the advantage. When they're doing stuff that they normally don't do, go hunt a deer in January, February. I mean, and I heard, you're talking, you can hunt so late. So, everybody in seasons are different, but an animal, when it's not season, hopefully the seasons are when they're, the rut and certain stuff like that. But you go try and hunt or be around a whitetail in, they say August, but they're Illinois, they're eating the beans. It's easy to see the big ones because they're eating those beans, power in those beans. And then that's the first time you're going to see a booner. Second time is during rut. And third time is late season when it's freezing and he's going to a food source. Besides that, you're not going to just fall into it, So whatever you're doing, the calling, the watching, the scouting, the hunting, pay attention, stay out of their way, do your job when it's time to do your job. And that means you've practiced. How many guys do you know go out to practice and they shoot one arrow? I learned that from a buddy of mine years ago, 30 years ago. Go out and shoot one arrow. I was like, what? I shoot 100 or 10 and then 10 and then 10. And he goes, no, Hunt, you don't get practice. Go shoot one. And I was like, wow, like that was a moment. And then I implemented it. I don't start off that way when I start shooting for elk. I get done with turkey and then I go into my routine. I start shooting for elk in June. I wait till June 1st is sort of my kickoff date to methodically shoot every day. But, it's simple stuff, but I hate to say it again, but there's a lot of stuff. If you buy calls from a lot of these companies, they will come with a link or an audible. I mean, DVDs forget that now, but you can Google instantly or DuckDuckGo. You know what I mean? You can find out pretty quick on, there's YouTube stuff, and there's some really good guys out there that are doing. I haven't done it. I need to, because honestly, if I would be intimidated myself, Matt Van Sice, world champion, everything, I'm like, I'm not calling next to you. You call. He's like, man, come on, brother, call. And I'm like, and I go, okay, fine, let's go. And we'd have fun and call back and forth, but honestly, yeah, I'd want to learn from the best, but I need to throw my hat in there, because learn from somebody that's not a world champion caller, but keeps carrying turkeys out, big old thumpers out on their back, So anyway, a lot of information out there for sure.
Yeah, I'm with you there with the intimidation thing. Like I said, because just being with my father-in-law, who's been doing it for 50 years, and I'm just along for the ride. But at the same time, there's been times where we'll both be calling, and then I'll be calling, and then the turkey will answer back, and he's like, keep doing that. Like, yeah, well, so that's definitely it. But what about, I know everything, whether it's elk or.
This episode is brought to you by Factor. Ready to optimize your nutrition this year? Meet Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal service. Factor's fresh, never-frozen meals are dietitian approved and ready to eat in just 2 minutes. Their chefs handle the shopping and chopping, delivering fresh, fully cooked meals to your door. All you have to do is heat and enjoy. Choose from 40 weekly options across 8 dietary preferences like Calorie Smart and Protein Plus. And if you're looking to lose weight, Factor's keto meals can help you lose up to 8 pounds in 8 weeks. Savor nutritious premium meals no matter how busy life gets. Eat smart with Factor. Get started at factormeals.com/factor50off and use code factor50off to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. Weight loss with Factor Keto based on a randomized controlled clinical trial. Results will vary depending on diet and exercise.
Your data is like gold to hackers. They're selling your passwords, bank details, and private messages. McAfee helps stop them. Secure VPN keeps your online activity private. AI-powered text scam detector spots phishing attempts instantly. And with award-winning antivirus, you get top-tier hacker protection. Plus, you'll get up to $2 million in identity theft coverage, all for just $39.99 for your first year. Visit McAfee.com. Cancel anytime. Terms apply.
Or turkey, you got to get them fired up. You got to get them in the right mood, whatever. What about time of day? Because you had mentioned like you don't even, you want to be sitting 30 minutes before, but on these new properties, or if you haven't roosted the birds or whatever, what is that still your same tactic? Are you still going and getting set up where you think there's going to be turkeys, or what's that like?
Yep. And I started, yesterday we switched properties. Today I was on the same one all day long, and I had 3 encounters with the same Tom, different times of the day, and the hens, he with his henned up, and golly, he's not going anywhere. And down here, there's not the relief like out west. There's a lot of the hills. You can use the hills to your advantage, but here it's pretty flat. So if you get pinned down, you can't move. But so when somebody asked me a question, I would ask them minimum of 3 or 4. So are you hunting? A lot of people, especially when I hunted Michigan, I went up there and stayed with Tracy, and, he was showing me around and doing all this stuff. And, they're little blocks. 40-acre blocks, 20 or 10. You don't find thousands of acres. There are some state ground properties and some other stuff, but, I wouldn't go in. So I say I cover a lot of ground and I call a lot, but I wouldn't do that if I was on a small 40. You're going to have to get in there, and you're going to have to, patience is going to do it for you on that one. But, and if you're hunting your zone, your season, you're going to have to, I would hope, scout, get in there. Right now before season, so Central Zone opens on Saturday, Southern Zone opened 10 days ago. And so I'm in full court press right now. I need to get this bird tomorrow because I got a lot of work to do. But because I've got, my Easter Sunday is this Saturday the 15th, which I'll have, more guys in the woods on one day than most outfitters down here doing the whole season. But they're all on great properties, scouted. So what I like to do is literally, if I hear a bird, more times than not, that's all I need to do is hear him. And my properties, I know pretty much what they're going to do after that. When I scout at night, again, I let him do what they're going to do. Hopefully he gobbles. Like, okay, lock him in. And then if I need to, I might gobble at him. That's a little less forceful than a coyote call. But I'll fall back on a coyote call if I need to. So anyway, that's sort of what I do. But on the property, so I would ask what your knowledge is, how big the property is, what your knowledge of turkey hunting is, how big's the property, how long you have to hunt, and what do you know about the property? And know about the property is history. When's the last person that hunted it? When's the last bird that was taken? How many normally get taken off of it a year? What do you know? Do you have cameras set up? So I like to ask a lot of those questions. And then from there, sort of my niche is what I fall back when especially whether I'm hunting or if I'm giving advice, I found out what everybody does, what they normally do there. And then I do the complete opposite, or as much different that I can, meaning, we only hunt till like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and then I got to go to work. Or If they haven't done it, I'm out of there. They're not right. Well, heck, I'm always hunting there at sunrise, but I'm thinking the middle of the day birds, those guys haven't been messed with at all. I mean, today we were talking, the gal I'm hunting with, Mary. I said, to me, hunters are the most optimistic people out there because it's always going to happen. I mean, how many times you go to your stand like, man, today, Mufasa, I'm going to get him. And you might shoot a smaller one, but next year, next hunt, next whatever. I'm going to get him. I'm going to get him. We might get knocked in the dirt, but next time, I'm going to get him. I'm going to get him. So I do that all the time to stay positive. But the hunting, the property out there, learning, asking some of those questions. But does anybody use decoys? Nope, I'm using decoys. How many do they use? One. I'm using a bunch. Do you ever use a strutter? Do you ever whatever? I mean, I'll set up a double bull. They go, man, those birds always fly out in the middle of that bean field. Really? You ever go hunt them? What? No. How are you going to hunt them? Watch this. And I put a double bull blind out in the middle of that field, laid out, get out there. Well, I mean, my MO is if I'm hunting it, I'll go out there I'll go eat dinner, go stay, do whatever I need to do, and then drive back out. Saturday, I took the family, my wife and son, got him in the hotel at 11:30. We had a 5-hour drive. 11:30. I knew what I needed to do. So I said, I left everything in the truck. I kissed him goodnight, and he was already passed out. And I drove. I got back and got to bed at 1:40, I think, because I had to drive up. I had a cart, and I loaded up all my stuff, my blind, the chairs, the decoys, everything went. And I went down 600 yards down a sandy road, planted pines. It was perfect. But I knew I was 150 yards away from the roost. I knew they were going to fly down and walk this road. I knew where I needed to be. And I knew I had to get up at 4:30 as it was in the morning. And I had little man with me. And with those variables, I mean, your daughter's, what'd you say, 7?
She's 9.
9. So even at that age, sometimes they, are they going to cough? Are they going to da? I didn't have an extra hour in the morning to do it. So that's what I did because I had to. I needed to get in there. But, go the extra 9. I mean, church, they preached, it was a few Sundays ago, but the extra mile. And then that comes back biblically, the Romans, anybody would have, if the Romans said, carry my stuff, they could legally do it. You had to go a mile. You had to carry it a mile. And they said, go the extra mile. So carry it the first mile and then do the extra mile because then that's on you. And you should have pride because it's your choice. And then if you do, so go the extra mile. Sleep, forget about it. If you really want to be successful, go, don't worry about sleep, and go out and do the, go the extra, go get dinner, go the extra mile. So anyway, on that, sitting and hunkering down, and I mean, it's real easy when you're learning how, where to hunt and all that stuff. But hopefully you don't have one little 40 and it's been hunted the season before you and you have to now go hunt it, and it might be tough. Well, get out there and knock on some doors, do some work for some people. I mean, ranches, I've painted whole ranches to get permission. They'd never let anybody hunt there before. But guess what? I'm on speed dial. Hey, Jeff, you want to come out and help us? I mean, how many of you guys, for any kind of property or permission to do something, have gone the extra mile, done what most people don't? It's not about money for most of these people, making friends, staying with them, helping them out,
Yeah, I told you I was only going to keep you on here about an hour or so. I want to get into the turkey contest and that sort of stuff, but I do want to ask you, I think I would be remiss if I didn't get at least like one story out of you from, so you did the Super Slam, so all states that have turkeys. Which one was the most difficult?
Well, so there's 3-4 states that are the toughest. Delaware, because it's the smallest. Louisiana, Arkansas, and then, so in order, probably Louisiana, Arkansas, then Delaware, and the hardest is Nevada because they just don't have that many birds. And back when I hunted it, it was a lot different. So I finished my Super Slam in 14, and it's a different world today than was then. But the toughest state, gosh, I don't know, the toughest state. I got lucky. I was blessed. My best run was I'd switched jobs and I'd been working way too much and didn't get to hunt. So I said, I'm taking off this spring and hunting like I hadn't before. And I hunted 10 states, got 10 toms in 10 states in 12 days. And I had to wait for West Virginia and Pennsylvania I got there on Thursday. So I scouted Friday, but I had to wait those 2 days. I wasn't hunting. So I hunted 10, and 8 of those states I'd never stepped foot in. But those 10, and I hunted 16 states that year. But that was a heck of a run there. New Jersey, I had to go back 3 times too. It's the only state I went to 3 times. It's a real small state, but I always hunted another state and had an extra day. So I hunted New Jersey and didn't get a bird. Second year, had an extra day. Third year, I said, I'm going to be in New Jersey until I get a bird. And of course, he flies down and boom, done. But I've been, because, and people are like, how can you do it? Well, when I go somewhere, I'm hunting. That's it. I would go somewhere and they're like, hey, we're having family dinner at 7. And I go, fly-up's at 7:35. I'll eat leftovers. You're going to insult us if you don't have dinner with us. And I said, well, I'm really sorry, but I'm here to hunt, okay? And if I get a break and I come out at lunch or something, or when I get a chance, and I've put some people off, but anyway, I go to hunt. So and because I travel so much, a lot of guys have a hard bird that they work on, or a deer that you guys have pictures of deer, boom, 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 getting bigger and bigger. I don't have that luxury, because I travel so much and I come and go. So I stick with it and hammer down. So the net is memorable states. Maybe that's a bit better one. And I've got, a picture. My last bird was a Arizona bird I shot with my bow. I wanted it to be really memorable, and I still haven't done a DNA test, but I know it was southeastern Arizona. Took me 4 days, and I worked for that one, but I shot him, and he looks like a Gould's, but he was probably my most memorable because it was the last one to finish my Super Slam, because, then you bucket list, and that's a bucket list that's not easily attainable, and it took years to do. So that's why it's such sort of the craze nowadays,
Yeah, absolutely. And that's, memorable is a good word. And it didn't necessarily have to be a hard state. It's just like it's neat, when you say like you killed 10 birds in 12 days, or, however that went, but sometimes the hardest ones are the ones that mean the most, and that's probably where obviously the last one is, the culmination of the whole thing, but the tougher hunts are the ones, or even the misses are the ones that, stick with you
learn
rather than those easy ones.
Yeah. And you learn the most, you remember them, and you learn the most from those ones. The takeaway, it's bitter pill to swallow a lot of times, but what you take away from that is so much more than when you just fall into a yard bird or a yard deer or a yard whatever, So
no, absolutely. So for you, one of the things you've got going on right now is a really incredible turkey contest. What is I guess I just want to say the standard of turkey contests, or how have they been operated in the past, and then what's different about yours?
Yep. And that's a great, I should have written that for you to ask. So I have entered several contests. The first real big one was the World Turkey Hunting Championship, and that was down in Kansas. And it was in 13 was the first year. And I thought, gimmick and da-da-da. And then a lot of guys hunted. And so then, and they said, oh yeah, the takeaway was, man, this is a real deal. So I did it the next year. It was fortunate enough. My team won that, in 14. And then we finished second, a third, and a third, I think. So we finished top three in 4 years. But it's funny, so that was 50 teams. You had to kill 3 birds, or the score, you can turn 3 birds in, and of 50 teams. And these are guys that are like top name, kind of everybody knows in the turkey world knows their names. And some of those guys wouldn't kill a bird. I mean, of 50 teams, there was 25 teams that didn't kill a bird. There was only 6 or 7 teams that got all their birds each year. So anyway, but that was, you show up, you pay a lot of money, and like it was $5,000 to get into that one. And you pay a lot of money and you get handed some properties. I think there were 2 or 3 properties, and you had to do your work and you had to hope there was birds on it. And, we did really well. I have nothing bad to say. We, won 25 grand the first year. I mean, that's a nice takeaway from a guy that shows up in a rental vehicle, But the norm is you have to travel. You have to pay quite a bit of money. There might not be great payouts. You got to get handed property and just hope that it's good. And then hope the weather's right and the birds are right, which that's tough. So after all that being said, I was invited to do a hunt down it's called the Georgia-Florida Invitational. Georgia would get mad, but it was put on by Tall Timbers, which is a big management company. They do a whole bunch with quail and other stuff. They start with the quail and everything benefits on the way up. But there was 100 2-man teams, and I got invited, and it was, you show up the night before, big dinner, and then you hunt the next morning from fly down till noon. You got to be in at 12:30, and big lunch was at 1. And my buddy and I ended up winning the thing. So 200 teams, or 200 hunters, 100 teams. But it made me think. I was like, you know what? I love that idea of hunting your own property. And there you brought the bird in, but there was no money in it. It was, they raised $100,000 for this, the cause. So there wasn't any money in it. So it just got me thinking, and and then a buddy of mine told me, he's like, what about more? And I said, more. And he said, more, More, Miriam, Osceola, Rio, Eastern, more. And I went, oh my gosh. And when I say destiny, when I fell into place, it was a wow moment for me. And I said, I got to do this. And I've had a lot of people, the National Wild Turkey Federation, unfortunately, doesn't want to condone it or talk about it or do anything with it, because they consider it a bounty. And I have had a lot of conversation with them, and I said, here's real simple. Of the potentially 1,000 birds in my competition that'll be turned in, how many do you think are going to be taken, harvested, killed, without that hunter being in my competition? Give me a truthful answer. And they were like, well, probably 998 of them. And I said, exactly. Hunters hunt. And this is just another way to do something fun. I am going to give some money back, some good causes. I hope to bring awareness to the industry. But more isn't just about this competition, the more challenge. It's about, I have a Super Slam link on there. You can click on and find out information about all the states. A quick 48 questions on every state. In Michigan, is there a draw? When's the season? When's the zone? Oh, the southern zone, the northern zone. How do you? Oh, yeah. Somebody says, oh, it's a draw. Well, yeah, but it's over the counter, unlimited, if you hunt private ground on the lower. So there's all kinds of twerks and tweaks and idiosyncrasies that you have to pay attention to. And a lot of people, it's intimidating. I don't want to call to a turkey. I don't want to hunt another state. So I'm putting more information out. I'm really trying to get more social, put some information out to teach people because I know I have a lot to offer. So, and trust me, I will have YouTube stuff, more turkeys. I've already got the channel. I just put one clip up so far, but I will have on there how to call, how to set up decoys, how to spot and stalk, how to look for sign, how to, my head spins on all the stuff that I really want to do. But anyway, so it's real simple. Hunt any legal bird. I started off and we're going to that way, and I'm going to end this way. Hunt any legal bird, because I'm going to give you, if you're winning money, you're going to take a lie detector test. And if you fail it, you're out. That's it. I got a virtual company. So I don't want I don't have the bandwidth to go micromanage all these people. So if you only hunt Michigan, you're going to join the Eastern Division. It's $350 to get in. How many spots do you want? It's 350, as many spots as you want. And there's video on there once you take the bird. So when you sign up, you're going to put a photo ID, which you have to have a photo ID in this. You might cross the border without a photo ID or vote without a photo ID, but you got a photo ID to drive, to vote, to buy alcohol. Guess what? For this one too. So anyway, the photo ID, and when you harvest your bird, you're going to video yourself, the surroundings, and a limp bird. He doesn't have to be flopping, but a limp. Everybody knows what a limp bird is. Instead of a frozen, it's not going to pass. You're not going to enter that bird. It's not going to do it. A limp bird, and then you're going to screenshot. Hunt Stand is a sponsor, so everybody gets a free membership of Hunt Stand. Huntworth, Apex Ammunition, 4Play Box Calls, a couple good guys. But you're going to video the 15 seconds. Everybody has a phone on them. I don't care if you have service or not. Everybody has a phone on them. And you're going to video a limp bird, the surroundings, your face, the beard, and the spurs. Really close. A rack is very identifiable. And to me, those spurs, I'm going to know it. When you go and later on, you're going to video, again, it can be 15 seconds. A zeroed scale, your face, keep the scale in it, and then you're going to get a bird, weigh it, look at the weight, lift the bird off, and look at a zeroed scale. And it's NWTF scoring, 1 times the weight, 2 times the beard, and 10 times the spur length. You're going to enter all that stuff in, all the pictures, and then I'll do a virtual awards on June. It's open because, as you know, Michigan and Maine and Wisconsin are open the first week of June. So I'll let the dust settle, and then awards are going to be June 21st. But it's $350 in for a spot for and there's the 5th one is a Grand Slam. That's $1,750 in, but that first prize is $15,000. The more divisions, the 4 more divisions are $350 in, and it's $7,000 payout for the first place. They pay 11 deep, and then 12 through 22 gets a free entry for next year. But the gist is there's never anything done like this before, because you're going to do it yourself. You're going to hunt in your backyard. You're going to travel the country, hunt as many spots as you want to buy. You can only get 2 Osceolas and 2 Grand Slams, because in Florida you can only get 2 Osceolas in the spring. But it's $50,000 payout for each of those 5 divisions. So $250,000 there, and the largest bird is going to get an extra $5,000 kiss for that one. So $255,000 potential payout to all the winners if all the divisions are full and everybody turns everything in and all that. And I don't gain anything by kicking out second place, because third place moves to second. I want integrity for this endeavor. I want everybody that enters to be truthful and to do the right thing. And I'm going to pay a $2,500 reward if you turn somebody in that's doing the wrong thing, and you're going to pay the money back and legal fees and all that. And you're going to sign off on some basic, simple stuff right off the bat. So I try and hammer down first, and just so everybody knows what's going to happen and then after that, okay, all that's done. When somebody shows up with me, okay, let's talk about this. Don't shoot unless you're going to kill, and sign a liability waiver. Okay, that's done in 30 seconds. Now let's go have fun. So I'm really excited about it. I've got some good traction. Turkey season, it's March 11th, I think right now. And, main season like middle of April. So middle of April to the middle of May is really full swing. So I've got still 5 weeks left to fill up the spots and, to start to go, I wonder. But we're doing good. It's something new. People are going to have to get traction. But again, so you Google my name and you're going to see, Grand Slams, 117 Grand Slams. I've taken over 500 birds myself, a Super Slam, won competitions myself, no negative, whether it's a hunter or a game warden or a property owner or anybody. There's nothing negative. So as far as a reputation and a good name in the industry, I'll stand on the same platform as anybody, toe to toe, and hold my head high and my shoulders back and say, yeah, this is what I've done. And again, legal. I want everybody to have fun, and I want to just, get out there and get some awareness going,
Awesome. Where can people do this? And is there a time frame where you have to sign up by any of that?
moreturkeys.com. It's real easy spelling, moreturkeys.com. You go on there on the challenge link, you click it, it'll walk you through it on all the directions. And then it says you have to sign up, and you can't hunt till the next day. So there's 2 stipulations. Sign up and hunt the next day, and you can only sign up if there's spots available. So when you go there, it'll walk you through it, and there's a drop down. So like when you get to the Miriam's, Easterns, Rios, it goes all the way down to whatever certain spots. And then the Osceola or the Grand Slam, there's only 2 spots, and you click that, enter it in your cart. So if a guy's hunting, he wants 1 Osceola and 2 Easterns and a Rio, great. Or 1 Eastern or 30 Easterns. If that's what he wants to do, then as long as the spots are available, it's real simple.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate the conversation and appreciate the time. Looking forward to seeing how this thing shakes out, and let's hope you get that bird tomorrow so you can get out there and do some scouting.
Oh my gracious. Thanks. I really appreciate the time.
All right. Thanks, Jeff.
All right. Bye.
Hit the road for fun and heartwarming fishing adventures with the Real American Road Trip.
I just want to hook up one time. I just need to hook up one time.
Catch the Waypoint Original Series every Tuesday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern on the Waypoint TV channel. Waypoint TV, your destination for outdoor entertainment.
I did get a bite. I have gotten a bite. I did feel it.
A life that has the stories to back it. A life to be proud of. It's a Winchester life.
Yeah, baby. 6'8" Western. Oh, mule deer, baby, right there.
Tune in every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern on Waypoint TV.